Thank you. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. Mark this day on your calendars. Remember it because it is a rare day, virtually non-existent, where I or my colleagues can speak on a college campus. It's most disturbing that at the university, and it's not just one particular or a series of universities, it's across the country, that is supposed to be the center of great debate. It's supposed to be the diversity of opinion, where only one opinion is sanctioned, where only one opinion is welcomed. And so first I want to thank Professor Seidman for inviting me to speak here. It was brave. The students who stood up for me to speak, I know it's not easy. I get to leave the campus, you have to stay, which is why student groups are loath to invite myself or Noni Darwish or Wafa Sultan or Ayan or Robert Spencer or Ibn Warwick, because they are intimidated, they are harassed, and this is an anathema to America. Speakers who speak for freedom, Americanism, Israel, are considered the political dissidents. And honestly, that term is not even used. That laudatory term is not even used. The fact is, faculty members, administration officials, they cave and they cower to demands by Islamic supremacists and Sharia enforcers. Now, what do I mean by Sharia enforcer? That's fair. That's fair. Someone who doesn't know will laugh, because in this country it is laughable. In this country it is absurd that we have to sue to get ads up. That we would consider. I agree. I think it's funny. That we would sue to get ads up because you cannot criticize Islam. Under the Sharia, you cannot criticize Islam, you cannot offend Islam, and it's punitive in Muslim countries, as you know. Those that are charged with blasphemy in Muslim countries are put to death under the Sharia. Here, your character is assassinated. Here you are smeared, defamed, and libeled for questioning creed apartheid, gender apartheid, Islamic Jew hatred. These issues are not allowed to be discussed. And that is why I discuss them. If speech that offends a group is prohibited, if speech that offends a group is outlawed, that group has absolute power, and a free society is destroyed. A group that cannot be opposed will be tyranny. And that's what we're seeing in many countries across the world. The idea that we would seek to impose it here or adhere to it by voluntary means is devastating and debilitating and shocking for freedom lovers across the world. You must be free to offend in a free society. It's critical. Inoffensive speech doesn't have to be protected. It's offensive speech that has to be protected. And it's not the Fifth Amendment, and it's not the Eighth Amendment, it's the First Amendment. And it's the First Amendment, freedom of speech, for a reason. Because a free society is contingent upon freedom of speech. A free society depends upon freedom of speech. Without it, peaceful men must resort to violence. Now let me give you a little background. How do I come to this? Prior to 9/11, I was apolitical. I assumed my freedom. I was the quintessential New York career girl. I was the associate publisher of the New York Observer. I love my fashion. I love my music. I love my art. I love my life. I assumed my freedom. I never for 1 second thought that it could ever be taken away from me. Come 9/11, I felt guilty. I didn't know who had attacked this country. And when I found out, I felt guilty because I didn't understand who attacked this country. So understand where I'm coming from. I was a freedom lover, you know? I just assumed it. I just assumed it. And the more I tried to understand the threat, the more those of us who were covering it were smeared, defamed, and libeled for discussing jihad. Now let's talk about Islamophobia for a second. It is Islamophobic to oppose jihad terror, because that's all I do. This claim that it's all Muslims. No, you're making that claim, not me. I clearly don't believe all Muslims support jihad, but I don't have to pat on the back every Muslim that doesn't want to kill me. I expect that. But there is a problem. There is a problem, and we have to be able to talk about the problem, and the problem is we can't talk about the problem, because this is what happens. You have Islamic supremacists calling Brooklyn College to cancel the talk. Why? Why? It's a free society. Why would this be controversial? But it is. The ads that I run. Again, let's talk about why I run those ads, how I run those ads. Where did that even come from? I will tell you, after seeing a number of vicious anti-Israel ads running, I responded. Now, there was no resistance to those anti-Israel ads. There was no controversy about those anti-Israel ads. Thousands of them ran across cities in America. But as soon as I discuss the jihad against Israel, I have to sue to get the ads up. And mind you, here, I don't know if you saw today's paper, because we had a major win yesterday. This is it's in all the New York papers, but this is page 10. This is page 10 of the New York Post. The headline should be, she had to sue for this? That's the headline. The headline is, your taxpayer dollars are used to not only fight these ads going up, the suppression of free speech, but my court case, my legal costs are reimbursed by you. I have sued 5 times, I have won 5 times, and you have paid 5 times. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You should be concerned. Because what happens when you say something that is not accepted by the totalitarian idea of the day? What then? The idea that we have to sue to get our ads up. The idea that it is controversial for me to come here and speak. I am the president of American Freedom Defense Initiative, a human rights organization dedicated to freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, and individual rights. My battle is the battle for individual rights. I don't care if you worship a stone. I don't care if you worship a stone. Just don't stone me with it. That's it. Now, this latest court case that we won again yesterday, this is an ad. Now, why am I running an ad quoting Hamas? Why am I running an ad quoting Hamas? I'm running an ad quoting Hamas because the Council of American Islamic Relations, a designated terrorist group by the United States government, an unindicted co-conspirator by the United Arab Emirates, ran an ad rebranding, you have to be quiet, You have to let me speak, and then we'll do a Q&A, and then you can speak, and that's how it's got to be done. They ran an ad campaign rebranding the word jihad. It's deceptive. There's a problem. Christians are being slaughtered in Nigeria. Catholics are being slaughtered in the Philippines. Across Africa, the Islamic State is rising. Across the Middle East, whole swaths of Iraq and Syria have been taken over by the Islamic State. They consider themselves devout. Now, I am not saying that everyone follows this particular authentic or pure or literal Islam. What I am saying is that they do, and it is a problem. And we have to talk about it. So the idea of making the jihad a warm and fuzzy term is absurd. And so I created a campaign quoting high-profile Muslims, whether it was the Prime Minister of Turkey, or the Fort Hood jihadi, or the Times Square bomber, or Hamas, who said killing Jews is worship to Allah. And the ad was refused. Do you know why the ad was refused? The ad was refused because the security chief of the MTA thought that it might incite Muslims to kill Jews. That sounds Islamophobic to me. But that is why, if you read the court opinion, it's why the ad was denied. The ad was denied because they were afraid that Muslims would be radicalized by the bus ad. A ridiculous premise, absurd on its face, because if you're going to kill a Jew because of the Islamic anti-Semitic texts in the Quran, a bus ad is not going to make you do it. A fanaticism will, but a bus ad won't. So we had to sue. We sued and we won. And those ads are going to go up. I'm going to buy 50 to 100 of those ads. Why would I buy 50 to 100 ads? Because most people think that the war against the Jews in Israel, the jihad against the Jews, is about stolen land, which is ridiculous. It is a religious war. And most people don't understand the root cause, which is why I run these ads. Because there's only one narrative. There's only one narrative on the college campuses. There's only one narrative in the media. And what is at stake is everything. Everything you love, you hate, you hold in contempt about in this country. It's the only country like it. And you won't like what comes after America. You won't. And it does grieve me that it is so difficult to have this conversation.
Excuse me, can you please tell her to shut this off?
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
America's intellectual leadership has collapsed. I give you this room. What better way to declare that the intellectual leadership has collapsed, but in the belly of the beast? Speakers that speak against Israel, they're welcomed. Jew haters are welcomed. But my speaking here on behalf of all of you, I mean my work, there's much of my work that's never discussed. Muslim girls who don't want to wear the hijab. Muslim girls like Aqsa Parvez. Muslim girls like Rifka Barry that don't want to wear the hijab. Where do they go? Who do they speak to? I stand for you. You want to wear the hijab. You want to wear the niqab. You wear it. I speak for the girls that don't want to. I speak for the girls that want to lead a Western life. You don't speak for those girls. Where were you when Rifka Barry was threatened by her family? Where were you when Aqsa Parvez, Noor al-Maliki, Amina, and Sarah Saeed? Why didn't you take to the streets? When Shema al-Awadi was murdered and they blamed Robert Spencer and me, and it turned out to be our husband in an honor killing. How come you didn't wear 1 million hijabs for Shema al-Awadi? It was only when you thought that it was a hater or a terrorist, she was killed by her husband. How come you didn't take to the streets and stand up for Shema al-Awadi or Aja Hassan Or Noor al-Maliki? Where are you, women? Where are you? Hiding. When they want to get to safe houses, you laugh because you're free and you're making your choices. That should be good for your sisters too. There are girls that want to get to safe houses. That's what we do. We get them to safe houses. But we don't talk about that work because it's inconvenient. It doesn't adhere to your Sharia coda.
That's right.
Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. There is no debate here. It's just incredible. You want me on the wall. You want me fighting for your freedom, whether you agree with me or not. Yeah. You'll remember these days. You remember these days. You need me fighting for your freedom, whether you agree with me or not. Whether you agree with me or not. This is the premise of this country. This is the premise of this country. This was a country, the first moral government in the history of mankind, based on individual rights. The first country based on individual rights and property rights. And everything noble and brilliant and just that this country achieved was a logical fidelity to that principle. Can you stop talking in the back, please?
What about the Native Americans?
We need a revolution of the mind. We need a philosophical revolution to counter this intellectual putsch, this intellectual coup d'etat. This is completely, this. The fact is that university life is becoming increasingly more fascist, more dangerous. If you don't subscribe to the narrative, Jewish students across the country are harassed and bullied. Should they express? Yeah, do you think it's funny? You know, this is what a Bund rally would sound like. Okay, this kind of intimidation and bullying. No. The fact is, you should be very concerned, because these Islamic supremacist revolutions that have now turned into the morphing Islamic State, which, by the way, continues to grow. It will not. What was that? What she said? Continues. The Islamic State continues to grow, and she says, "Thank God." You know what? That says it all. You know. That says it all. I can't. There's no way that I can ever possibly relate to this kind of savagery. You know, I watch these videos every day. 10 years ago, when Daniel Pearl was murdered, this country roiled in disgust and revulsion. We were galvanized. We captured Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Now, it's every day. Did any of you watch yesterday's video out of the Islamic State? A 30-minute video, the first 16 minutes explaining by Islamic clerics, citing Islamic texts and teachings, citing Quran for what they're about to do. 16 minutes of Islamic texts and teachings, and then Ethiopian Christians who refused to convert were beheaded and shot to death. This is every day. And you say, Inshallah? I don't get it. I got to tell you, I don't get it. Yeah. I will tell you that if it's, what's the difference? Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. What's the difference? Hamas, Hezbollah. I mean, the fact is, there's a problem in Islam. And you're coming after me, I ain't your problem. Seriously, you're obviously in this country because you believe in freedom. Otherwise, you'd be living in a country under the Sharia. You obviously are here because you believe in freedom for everyone. No special rights for special classes, right? No special rights for special classes. Am I right or wrong? Okay, so that's why you're here. So I don't know how you could possibly not be concerned with what's happening in previously secular or more secular Muslim countries. It's very scary. It's very scary, and you should be on the forefront. The moderates should be on the forefront fighting it. You should be standing shoulder to shoulder with me in defense of freedom of speech and individual rights.
We stand by you.
Well, you're very sweet. Okay. The idea of offensive speech, which is why, we're here today, and the inability to speak freely in the marketplace of ideas. And we can't. Because the last time I can tell you that I spoke at a college campus was years ago, Temple, and it was madness. And it is madness many times when we still, what's up? It's madness many times when my colleagues on the rare occasion get to speak. Look at Ayan Hirsi Ali. She was given an award at Brandeis. Now, really, whatever you feel about Ayan, she's a reliable witness. I mean, she was born and raised in the culture. She escaped, and whether you like her or you don't like her, she deserves respect. Her trial and her tribulation deserve respect. And yet, she was disinvited from Brandeis. Are you comfortable with that? Do you think that that's right? No. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. You are the future. I live my life. I lived my life and I was free. This is your fight. Freedom is your fight. This is your fight. I wish to assist you. You do not appear to want my help. But the fact is, this is the most critical battle of your lives. How many secular Muslims are bullied, intimidated, harassed, and slaughtered as apostates because they're not practicing or considered devout? They need you. The free world needs you. And I do find it discouraging that when we're talking about beheadings and FGM and creed apartheid and in all of these acts of jihad terror, they separate the Muslims from the Christians and let the Muslims go, that you laugh. There's a savagery in that too, Yes. That nonetheless, I only ask, you can laugh with your friends. I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind. I understand peer pressure. But like I said, you laugh with your friends. But I speak to each one of you individually. I speak to each one of you as a fellow human being. To try and think for yourself, to try and be a rational being, to see what's going on around you, to be cautious about what's happening in this country. One only has to look to Europe to see where you could go. They have these hate speech laws where for quoting Churchill, a British politician is put in jail, is arrested. Is that what you want to come here? Even if it is your belief system, is that what you want? Because if you do, then it's not compatible. It is not compatible with the Constitution. And it does not belong here. And I feel that if you're in this country, you love freedom. It's why you're here. You love the choice. You love the choice. You want to wear a burqa, you don't want to wear, you want to wear a colorful, the choice, freedom. That's what I'm fighting for. And I am fighting against totalitarianism. Whether it was 100 years ago, I'd be fighting Stalinism. I'd be fighting the National Socialist Workers' Party, which is Nazism. But today, it's political Islam. And the body count is too high, And the denial in concert is too high, and it cannot be done. It cannot be addressed without the moderates in the room. I have absolutely, I applaud Zionism as well. I know it's funny. It's funny that the Jewish people should want a tiny itty-bitty state when there are 57 countries in the 57 countries in the Organization of Islamic Conference. 57 countries in the Organization of Islamic Conference, but the Jews, half were exterminated, can't have a tiny Jewish state. This again speaks to the perversion of the narrative. Before 1967, there was no such word ever used as Palestinian. It was Greater Syria. Go back and look. Before 1948, before the establishment of Israel, in the British Mandate of Palestine, a word that the Romans renamed Israel in order to humiliate the Jews when they lost against the Romans. Before 48, there were Palestinian Muslims and there were Palestinian Jews living in the British Mandate. Palestinian Muslims were conducting pogroms against those Jews. This is a very old war. And if you don't know the history of it, don't open your mouth. Learn first. First, learn everything. The Palestinians are the Jews. The Palestinians are the Jews. The Palestinians were given Palestine in the League of Nations, 1920, San Remo resolution. Again, yours is the illegal argument, not mine. And you should want the Jews to have a little piece of land. What's the big deal? Let the Jews live. And I will tell you what the big deal is. The big deal is, according to Islamic texts and teachings, Israel is offensive to the devout. I have here, I'm not going to read it because we ain't got till midnight, but many of the Islamic texts and teachings calling for the annihilation of the Jews. It is a religious imperative. It is up to you to work to expunge these teachings from your belief system. That's critical. You must. In order to live as human beings, as civilized men, this is what is required of you. Why can't you be the new generation? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something for you to be to fight off the elders and the ugliness and the hate and the creed apartheid and the gender apartheid? Wouldn't that be something really earth-shattering for you people to do? You want to change the world? That's where you start. On that note, well, listen, I could change myself. That's my prerogative. You can change yourself. I fight for the prerogatives. That's what I'm fighting for. The premise of all my ideas, ladies and gentlemen, is individual rights. That's it. I'm not anti-religion. I don't care. I don't care what you worship. Just let everybody else worship too. Just let everybody else live in peace too. And if you choose to stifle speech, you'll be next. Who's going to decide what's good and what's forbidden? The government? Who's going to decide what's good and what's forbidden? What can and cannot be said? No, not me. I believe everybody should speak. Who's going to decide? The Islamic State? Boko Haram? Think about it. You know what's going on in Pakistan and Afghanistan, the imposition of these free speech laws. And Christians, Asia Bibi, they're being put to death because of a perceived insult to Islam. Is that right? I ask you, do you consider that to be right? You have to fight against it. Yes, it is your job. As a member of the human race, it's your job to fight against oppression, suppression, and slaughter. On that note, I think I'd like to take questions. I'd like to take of the audience. Questions, just so that you know, are limited to 30 seconds. No speeches. You want to make a speech, get a room, book yourself, and talk.
Hi, how are you? Assalamu alaikum. Apparently there's a lot of turmoil overseas and in America, a lot of injustice. So I'm just wondering, Waka Flocka Flame, that's our president 2016, right? Waka Flocka, yeah.
Okay, next campaign announcement.
Hi, I just wanted to confirm a quote from you. So it's from 2008. It is great to be a blonde with low expectations. It's very easy to surprise people. Do you recall saying this?
No.
Oh, this is Pamela Anderson. Do you remember Pamela?
Thank you.
Enjoy the ignorance of some of the people here.
Thank you.
And my question is, how do you educate people who are ignorant, who do not realize that Islam, in its purest form, in the Quran, in many places, does preach hate and for the death or the cheese attack
Let us speak.
who do not adhere to Islam. How do you address that ignorance?
Well, I want to say a couple things. There are certain people that no matter what will never be moved. You know, when Stalin died and they opened up the gulags and they released the political prisoners and were told that Stalin was dead, many of the political prisoners started crying. Not from happiness, they actually cried because Stalin was dead. Those people you're never going to change. But there are millions of Americans that are just misinformed. There's been this huge disinformation campaign for years. Jihad, terror, Sharia has been scrubbed. It has been whitewashed. It's peace and all this nonsense. And so this is what we seek to do. These ads that I do, it seeks to leapfrog over the media because the media is by and large Sharia compliant. And they speak directly to the people. When I did the ads on Islamic Jew hatred, and I showed the picture of Adolf Hitler and the leader of the Muslim world, Mufti al-Husseini, most people don't know that the leader of the Muslim world raised Muslim armies for Hitler. Don't know that he was responsible for the death of 400,000 Jewish women and children. They don't know that he lived in the lap of luxury on Hitler's dime in Berlin. That's why I ran that ad, and the site that it was linked to had hundreds of thousands of hits. So that's why we do what we do. We do it to educate. And as George Bush said, you're either with us or you're against us. You cannot sit on the fence. You cannot sit on the fence in this battle. There are no casual observers. Everybody, every single citizen of the world is in this war. Yeah. Shah.
You know, I appreciate anyone who comes and talks about freedoms and rights. You know, I'm a citizen of this country. I'm very proud to be. I'm very proud of my rights and my freedoms. And I, will stand with anybody who stands with me for them.
Yes.
Now, it's a little difficult for me to take you seriously because my first introduction to you, and I'm here now, you're telling me about freedoms and rights. My first introduction to you was when you were protesting, opposing my community's right to build a mosque in Park 51. I used to pray in that mosque, and I came out after it had been approved by New York City, the local council, and you were out there and you were saying that we should not build this mosque because 70% of Americans don't agree with it. How's that not the pot calling the kettle?
That's a very fair question. Thank you for answering it. Actually, I did not say that they shouldn't build a mosque because 70% of Americans opposed it. I did not say the government should shut it down. I did say they had every right to build that mosque, but this is what I said. That building was destroyed in the 9/11 attacks. The landing gear crashed through that roof. Body parts were found in that building. And I thought it was enormously insensitive and offensive that they would consider building a 15-story mega mosque under the name Qurdoba in that building. I have never opposed. There are hundreds of building mosques in the city, hundreds of mosques, thousands of mosques in this country. You've never seen me oppose them. That particular mosque was very symbolic. And moreover, we have never seen in the history of Islam a mosque dedicated to reconciliation and healing. Never. But we have seen countless mosques built on the sites of jihad conquests. So I understand, and by the way, I sympathize that you are a worshiper there. And they've been worshiping there since November 2009. Okay? I never said anything. I knew about it in November 2009. You didn't see me say anything. The idea of building Mecca on the Hudson, I ask you, sir, objectively, if they built a 15-story mega mosque in that building, would that not have been Mecca on the Hudson to the Islamic State? A building, a mosque like that. Look, it's the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is right on top of the first and second temple. The Hagia Sophia, the most exquisite church in the world. They just turned into a mosque again. This is deeply offensive. We're not killing people. We're not burning mosques down. But it's deeply offensive. We appeal to Imam Rauf. We appeal to him. That's all that was. Yes, I was protesting it peacefully, never violently, never calling for violence, but asking them to reconsider that idea. Now, he said he's building a museum of Islam there. Did you see me call for protest? No. A 3-story museum. But that was just... there was no Shinto shrine at Pearl Harbor. They never built a Shinto, and the Japanese never asked. And even when the church was building a convent across from Auschwitz, and people were up in arms, the Pope withdrew. Not because there was a law, not because he had to, because it was the right thing to do.
You asked me a question. Can I answer?
Sure.
I'll disagree with you on the fact that no mosque has ever been built in a consultant home. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, Syria is a perfect example of that. It was initially a Roman temple, later a church, and then later converted to a mosque. Bought, purchased, and Christians were always allowed to worship there, and it was done in a consultory way.
But you and I both know Christians are not allowed to worship in a mosque. You cannot worship in a mosque unless you're being invited to Islam. Unless you're being invited to, okay, listen, unless you're being invited to Islam and there's a deliberate, yeah. Look, I'm not going to debate it. Wait a minute.
Can everybody calm down, please? Okay, number one, I am Roman Catholic. You do not speak in the name of me. You do not speak. Then Islamic, because there's nothing Islamic about that, but Islamic State killed Muslims and Christians. The Zionist State kills Muslims and Christians. Attacking bit of land, that was the entire land. So first of all that. Second of all, thank you so much to the administration for giving us such a relevant flyer. We've been waiting in the rain for 2 hours. 2 hours, and you talked about the rights and everyone should be treated equal no matter the class. Well, guess what? People got treated different today outside of the building.
Okay.
So thank you. No, my dear young woman, I do not speak for you. But I fight for your right to speak. I fight on my own.
I fight for the right of every individual to speak. I do not. And from what what I understand, many students were in here at 6:30, way before everyone. I do not speak for you, but I speak for your right to speak. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you may say the Islamic State is not Islamic, but they do. And that's the problem. I'm thrilled that you don't think they're Islamic. Honestly, I don't care. It's irrelevant what you think. What they think is, because they're killing people. As far as the Jews and Israel, the only country in the Middle East that's safe for Christians is Israel. Now, shame on you. Shame on you for not knowing that. Shame on you for not knowing that, yeah. That's right. That's right. The only country that's safe for Christians. Next questioner, please.
There has been a trending social media topic involving one of the most famous Muslims in media. Sorry, my phone locked. Okay. This issue caused heartbreak to millions of people all over the world, including myself and my own family. And I was just curious to ask you, how do you feel about Zayn Malik leaving One Direction?
Yeah?
Questions that are on the phone are not legitimate questions. Do you want me to take them?
Yeah, no, listen, the people that are not getting prompted should go first. The people with a genuine question that are not being prompted by their puppet masters should go first.
You gotta tell it was people that are not.
I don't stop.
So, there's been a huge controversy over a certain party returning to their land, and it affects millions of people, and I thought I'd ask for your input. In your honest opinion, how do you feel about LeBron James returning to the Sarah, say what you need to say.
Say what you need to say. You're doing your school proud. I want you to know that. Once a great school. No, there is a system. No. What'd she say? You know something, baby? You are one big cliche.
Okay.
No white privilege. Two pieces.
Question. Can we ask her a question?
Hi.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Leave her alone.
Oh no, she didn't start talking. So mature, Sarah. I like how you're acting your age.
Please let the woman speak.
All right, so
we can't hear you.
Right there, okay. If I don't talk, then the system goes, but everyone's
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Maybe if you stop talking, shut up. Shut up. Go ahead, just we hear you. We hear you. How old are you?
Oh, it's okay when you guys do it, though, right?
He has a point.
Yeah, we're the ones who pay security.
Oh, you want to know how much I pay in security? You want to know the kind of death threats I get? Don't go there. Believe me. Yeah.
We can't hear her. Come on.
Okay, so I
Can't hear you. We can't hear you. You guys were in trouble. Yo, we can be all mad. I bet you got work in the morning.
All right, this is silly. If you don't know how to do this, we won't do it.
did you not?
Every time I talk, he starts yelling over.
God, this is kindergarten. Talk!
Okay. I'd just like to start off by saying that, first of all, the First Amendment protects you from the government making laws against your speech, but it doesn't protect you from universities declaring that you're a bigot. Okay, and a racist, all right?
Can I just say that is the most incoherent thing that I have ever heard. My freedom of speech is across America.
Second only to your speech, though. That's all I
Room to be quiet now. I want to say, Pamela, thank you so much. I want you all to start laughing. I want you all. I'm not gonna let you shut me up. I survived genocide of 1979 Black September genocide committed in Azerbaijan. 8,000 people. I live, and I am half Muslim. And I have to tell you this, my husband is Jewish, and guess what? Yes, my father is a radical Muslim. And I have to tell you something, you want me to read the Quran for you? I will. And I have to tell you, Pamela, thank you so much. And I have to tell you, I want you all to laugh, that I survived 8,000 things. And I have to tell you, yes, I lost the faith, because my father is Muslim. Go ahead, laugh. Because if you're so brave, I want your head on the platter, not others. Can you promise not to stop your fight against the white